Hello everyone and welcome back. We're here for Formula Racing League Taco Tuesday. This is season 18 and as my colleagues on Sunday elaborated, she is now legal to drink. My name is Gogs Brown. I am in the commentary booth this evening and I'll be calling the action as Formula Racing League demonstrates its 18th season. 18 seasons on the trot. We're here at Snetterton for this eSports Championship race, the season opener. One of the British touring car favourites and a lesser known circuit amongst sim racers, so I'm sure we'll get some challenging situations for these drivers. Now this is the pro tier, these are the top drivers in Formula Racing League, the fastest drivers. As we see someone pointing the wrong way there, that's Luke Prentice as he gets himself recovered. These are the quickest drivers the league has to offer, but will that speed translate into racecraft as we see Chris Faster there in the Ferrari running a little bit wide coming onto the back straight. We'll see if that does translate into the racecraft and who will be crowned the Taco Tuesday champion. So we do have live commentary for every single race this season. Good news, I know we've not had that in a while. It will be myself in the commentary box, but for the first time ever, FRL will be bringing commentary and a broadcast to every single tier of Taco Tuesday this season. With the pro tier this evening, we are scheduled to be with the silver tier for round 2, the pro-am, that's tier 3 for round 3, and then we'll do that all again. We'll go back to silver, back to pro-am, and then back to pro for the season finale. We're just in the final minutes of free practice. Let's have a little chat about what we can expect this evening. On the top right of your screen, we have this evening's schedule. We do have free practice. We have 11 minutes left to go of the session. The drivers just fine-tuning their setups. We then have a traditional 15-minute qualifying session. That will be 15 minutes. Where the drivers will go out and post their fastest lap possible, with the idea that the fastest driver will start first, second fastest will start second, and so on down the grid. We then have a 70-minute race, that's 7-0, 1 hour and 10 minutes. We'll have one mandatory stop in that race where the drivers must refuel. They do have the option to take tyres, but will they take that option or will they save time? Will they go for the extra grip with the new rubber on the car, or will they keep track position and try and stick it out to the end? Both strategies are viable. It has been done last time FRL were at Snetterton. There was a 90-minute race with open strategy, and the best option on that day was to take no stop, save fuel and do everything you can to get to the end. So we'll see what happens there. A little bit different this evening and it might throw up some different results. We do have that format for the rest of the season, but let's talk about the rest of the season. Right now we're here at Snetterton. Again, one of the lesser known circuits for the season opener. For round 2, the silver drivers will get us to show us around Laguna Seca, one of the more famous or infamous circuits we are revisiting this season. Then the AM tier get the privilege of taking us to the Brickyard, the Indy 500 circuit. We're taking a weird combination of the MotoGP course and the IndyCar road course. We'll talk that through obviously when we come round to that option. Round 4. The silver tier will then take us to Suzuka, of course. Suzuka were the home of the last endurance race FRL did. And a lot of the drivers will be familiar with the circuit, so there'll be good action there and very competitive lap times. That will also be a very special edition, a 90-minute race with 2 mandatory stops in that instance. Round 5. we will be going to, I believe... Nope, it's gone. It'll come back to me. It's Monza. We will return to the Temple of Speed. And then lastly, we return to the Nürburgring. Sorry, not the Nürburgring. The Hungaroring. FRL goes behind the old Iron Curtain to tackle the tight, twisty, turbulent turns off the Hungaroring. So that's our 6th race season for season 18. Who will come out on top? Only time will tell. Craig Twardock currently leads practice. He's done a 1:47.1. He's just returned back to the pit lane. Damien van der Waal was a big, strong contender last season. Just fell away towards the end of the season. He'll be looking to mount a championship challenge once again. Adam Sharp, recipient of the SA28 FRL award for 2024 for the driver of the year, essentially, in Formula Racing League, always consistently up there on the podium. Then we have some new guys in the server this evening, new to FRL. M Bond, absolutely missing a step by not selecting the Aston Martin and coming in with car number 7, absolutely there. Diani, let's go with Diani, in the 268 McLaren, also new, and see the course coming out of the pit lane, followed by that very striking turn 1 sim racing livery of Steve Caruana, just behind him there. Jeffrey Godefroy makes a return again, 2nd season now back to back. He's been around the block a few times as the Belgian, so he'll be looking to make a challenge as well. Wouter Heymans, I should explain, Wouter Heymans, and I think we've got a few drivers actually who are at the silver tier, silver license holders within Formula Racing League. The very unique system that they have to tier the drivers. The fastest silver drivers have been given an opportunity, and we'll just edit that one out there as Heymans goes sideways through Nelson and through Brundle into Nelson corner there. Yeah, some of the quicker silver drivers, silver license drivers, have been given the opportunity to race in the pro tier to see what they're made of this season. So let's see how we'll follow their journey throughout the season. Absolutely, we'll check on them each and every round. That's Wouter Heymans. Who else have we got here this evening? Graham Cobb is another one. Jamie Christie making his return as well. Steve Caruana and Chris Gedman, Mr. FRL himself, Formula Racing League co-owner, is joining the pro tier this season as well. 20 cars on the grid so far with 5 minutes to go. What we're going to try and do now is we're going to come on board with the course, and he's going to give us his view of a lap of Snetterton. So he comes across the line, starts the lap, now in the car to the left, brake start to the number 1 board, tip it in, thread the throttle, do not take too much of curb on entrance or exit, prepare yourself for the scary 3 hairpin corner, brake around about the number 2 brake board, keep it tight, get the foot down and get acceleration under the short straight. Turn 3, long left-hander, you want to take a late apex here as it tightens towards the end, and careful that curb on the exit is very sharp. Short burst down, very little reference points. Once those brake markers go on the right hand side go, you've got a round hairpin. You want to almost take this one more of a V shape to maximise your exit speed. Now Hamilton corner, again very little reference points and very sharp curbs as we see the course running a little bit wide, unfortunately. He continues on into this tight right-hander. Again, cautious on the throttle there. It's very easy to run wide on exit. Another late apex corner, and this one is very important to give yourself the best shot onto the Bentley straight. As it now runs up the gears. Don't quite make 6th gear here. And we tip the car in to Brundle, very tricky braking zone and a sharp right through Nelson. One of the trickiest sections actually on the calendar as the course using all the curbs. Now through the bomb hole, that's BOMB for anyone who may struggle with the accent. Second to last corner now, very tricky, multiple lines round here, red at the throttle, balance the car, pick your braking point for the final left-hander at column. Put the right foot down and nothing more to do than to speed to the line, get your shifts right and across the line you go. Well, that one we did see was invalid for the course, but will he remain on course this evening, currently running P6. That's a very good time, but right now Twardock is setting the pace with Damien van der Wal in P2 and Adam Sharp still in the pits, P3. Cassier, who raced on Super Sprint Sunday, did very well actually. Spent a lot of time on screen. He was leading, I believe he was leading, or running very well at least anyway in race 2 until he unfortunately got caught up in an incident. Hopefully looking for a bit more of a clean race this evening. Less of a sprint of course, and more of a sort of longer game you need to play here at Tackle Tuesday. Only got 21 cars in the server now as Morgan Grace, returning driver, has just joined us for the final couple of minutes of practice. He was racing on Sunday as well, he's had some practice. You see cars just making little mistakes everywhere as they go around the circuit. It is one of the trickier tracks. It has a lot of what I would like to call error generators, where it just causes some issues as you travel around, some mistakes, some awkward cambers, late apexes, sharp curves and very bouncy bumps in the road. Like you see Jamie Christie here in the Nissan, getting two wheels up in the air as he smashes the curb at Nelson. Uses all of the track on approach through the bomb hole. And I'm going to have to get a track map up at some point this evening to make sure I get all of these corners correct. Into the final corner now, yellow flags out for Gedman, who's run right, and Christie looks like he's going to join him and jumps back into the pits. So if you're watching this for the first time, do of course give us a follow, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified when Formula Racing League goes live. We do have events on running pretty much non-stop. This is on console crossplay, PS5 and Xbox together. But they do, of course, Formula Racing League does host many events. We have obviously a set of course a Competizione, as you're seeing just now, on console and on PC. They run R Factor, they run Le Mans Ultimate. We've got WRC events starting shortly as well, and I am going to correct my colleagues on Sunday. We do not host Gran Turismo races, at least not yet, so keep an eye out for that potentially in the future. As we look for any cars still circulating the track, I think we do have the course still out there. Steve Caruana still battling hard around there as now. He's currently 2 seconds off the pace. I'm going to take a short break for the next 18 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Okay, and we are back. Thank you for holding on for that short break there. We have got the checkered flag now in practice. We'll just wait for the course to finish his lap time or invalidate, and we'll move straight on to the business end. We will start qualifying. All the drivers now will go out with low fuel, new tyres, and we'll see just where the pecking order really is this season. 22 drivers in the server tonight, as Falcianelli in the 317 Aston Martin joins us very late, but he is here and that's the important thing. Twardog with a 1:46.8, very quick lap time indeed. So this circuit you can see, we'll put it up on screen just now, this is the Snetterton 300 circuit. As the name suggests, it is 3 miles long. We have 12 corners, 7 to the right and 5 to the left. Pole positions on the left hand side of the circuit. The lap record tonight, well, the lap record around the circuit is 1 minute 39.933. We won't be anywhere near that tonight. That was set in a Formula 3 car back in 2011. We have rain. We have a wet qualifying session. The drama has just been heightened. Somebody's jumped out already and they'll realise their mistake as it is a wet circuit. You're not going to get the grip out of that circuit, I'm afraid, Twardog. Not even yourself with the pace you are carrying in that Ferrari. Everyone in the pits frantically adjusting their setups to see if they can try and get some kind of grip. Twardog is wasting no time whatsoever. Jack Prentice next to follow him out of the pit lane, I imagine, does have the wet tyres on. And then we have the 317 car of Falcianelli, who's jumped straight out of the pit as well, as the drivers now begin to filter out of the pit lane. You can't see on the track map there the location of any drivers. So of course, if you do have a driver that you want to keep an eye on, please of course do so. You can see their numbers on the right. Now, usually when a blue dot, that represents someone who is not on a fast lap, so they've invalidated their lap or they're on an out lap or something similar. A grey dot means they're on a valid lap. As you can see, it's glitched. And then of course you'll see yellow flags and blue flags appearing for those drivers as well. The red dot is the car we are currently watching. So as more cars now begin to filter out on circuit, there is only 22 cars this evening. The circuit has just went, see if you look at the top right of the screen, we've got the weather as we expect it to fall, and the circuit's just went damp, so it is, even though it's raining, the surface itself is beginning to dry up a little bit, and if Twardog's went out there on the dry tyre, that might actually help him. He might get some traction from his car. So we'll see if he's actually made the right move here. We'll jump on board with him as he approaches. See the scary tree there in the background. It's Adam Sharp who's he pulled up in front of. Is Sharp going to get out of his way? He does. He pulls over and lets Twardog continue his lap. So we'll just stick with Twardog on this occasion. Let's see how he gets on, because we do suspect he is on the dry tyre given how quickly he left the pit lane. I do suspect we'll be seeing a lot of Twardog and Sharp on circuit this season. A little bit of a queue now beginning to form at the back of the circuit, but everyone seems to have reasonable distance between each other. Twardog nearly on the grass on the exit. And sliding, controlling a four-wheel drift onto the Bentley straight. And here he comes now, going up through the gears. Under the bridge into Brundle. Brakes nice and early, make sure he brakes in a straight line, not to lock up the rears and send him sideways into the tyre wall. Bomb hole. There's a big lift in there as he waits till after the crest. Get the power bit down and he's off the throttle early round the long right-hander. Bit of a late braking zone, can he keep it on the track? Oh, it's on the edge, on the ragged edge. He's chosen to continue the lap. He thinks it's a good one. What can he do? 1:52.2 now on a damp circuit. That's very impressive. We'll see if anyone can match that. I believe Jack Prentice was the next car to Up and round the back end of the circuit. Here he comes now. We see the Aston behind getting very squirrely as he puts the throttle down. Jack Prentice in his local circuit, hometown. Hero 0.3 off a second. Luke Richings in chat, the voice of a great commentator. Not what you were saying about my voice in party chat on Sunday. Twardock still first. Cassier goes into P2. Jack Prentice third. Falcianelli fourth, and Danny fifth. Keep an eye on the left hand side of your screen because you're now going to see times begin to tumble on the left hand side. We'll pick up Steve Caruana coming through into Brundle, and Nelson on board the Ferrari driver now. A lot more aggressive through Bomo, multiple stabs at the throttle. Maybe wets is the correct choice. Twardock still out on the circuit. He has decided to commit. Yellow flags out of turn 1 there. We'd missed who that was for. That's a much cleaner exit for the Maltese magician as he goes now up through the gears and crosses the line. His first lap time was very good, up into P7, nearly crashed into a car coming out the pits. Jamie Christie as well, jumping back in the pit lane now. That was a scary situation there. We picked up Foppoli in the 265 Ferrari. A lot of Ferraris here this evening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Ferraris entered the championship. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 Fords this evening. Maybe more will show up next race. Aston Martin, only 1 driver, so that'll be Falcianelli in the Aston. 4 McLarens, 2 Porsches, and 1 Lamborghini and 1 Nissan. So a bit of a mixed bunch. But it's safe to say Ferraris, Fords and McLarens make up the lion's share. We've got more as well in the AMG Mercedes. Times now on the left. Twardock's improved. What a time, 1:51.7. So that will take some beating. Maybe the dry tyres were the best option, and you see some drivers in the pits, maybe they're now thinking that as well. They will jump into the pits, get a new fresh set of tyres, wet tyres with the grooves. That will maybe help them find some more traction. The sharp rejoins ahead of Foppoli, who does improve, goes up into P8. Oh, a car off track there, that was a McLaren. And very wide in, Moores dipped a wheel on the grass and he's going straight to the scene of the accident. Ambition ahead of Adhesion there for the FRL rookie. Vaclav Pospisil is back on track this season, the McLaren driver. In the Vodafone McLaren, as always. Good to see a familiar face. He's just towing Highlands along behind them as they come round the scary hairpin. We've missed it, Van der Waal, that's Damien Van der Waal in the 433, has put in a great lap time there, only 0.3 off the early pace set by Twardock. There's a familiar colour scheme as well on the car. We see Morgan Grace going straight on at Brundle there in the background. Cobb, they're coming around the second to last corner. He's yet to set a lap time, and electing to drive without his windscreen wipers. He's very cautious on the brakes. He needs to get himself a lap time in the bag just now. What can he do? Crosses the line and gets a time registered at least, so he did look very stable into the final corner. We'll see what Cobb can continue to do. Chris Gibbons out there plugging away in his Spearmint Rhino Porsche with the tennis ball wheels. as he goes sideways, full four-wheel drift coming out of that tight right-hander. Of course, Gedman missing Super Sprint Sunday Sunday there, due to working on his tan on the golf course. You've got no tan this evening in these damp conditions. Rain, of course, was always a potential risk for this race. I think we had something like a 40% chance of rain, so it was always possible. Forecast, of course, in Britain, as reliable as a plumber's estimate. Never truly know what you're going to get, and usually at the last minute it doesn't go your way, and that appears to be what's happened for the drivers this evening. As German comes round that final corner now, it looks a lot better actually. A lot of traction, a lot of weight on the back of that Porsche with having an engine in the back end. Glorified Volkswagen Beetle, but unfortunately Gedman's not able to improve. And he'll go again. 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining off this session. That looked like Jack Prentice maybe potentially holding up a car there behind. Need to be careful with that one. He's moved out of the way now. He's got 2 cars to go. I mean, the track map is actually showing him not holding up. He was the one being pressured there. So again, he's got some more time. He's got 4 minutes left. He can go around and get another lap. And Grace struggling coming out of the final corner. Has he got a time to set a valid time? Still not a valid time yet. Pos Piso just coming through behind. And going into P2, the track is definitely improving. And that is a warning shot fired across the bow of all the other drivers here. The FRL veteran taking second place, just pipping Damien van der Wal to P2 just now. I apologise in advance. Nope, still can't do it. I'll get there eventually, don't worry. My apologies for completely butchering your name. But again, another driver new to Formula Racing League this season, just finding their feet within the league. We'll see if they are able to improve on their current P19. Tricky conditions, of course, all round. Stu Rogers in chat there, one of the fellow admins here at Formula Racing League, unfortunately injured this evening. Oh, who was that there? Just rejoining on the second to last corner, nearly T-boning Rapparelli there, but he's managed to get through and managed to navigate that well. Stu Rogers there, unfortunately not able to race this evening, is targeting a return at round 2 at Laguna Seca. Currently suffering from a broken foot, hopefully able to return soon. So Rapparelli not able to improve, at least on this occasion. Here's Hymans, 2 minutes left to go. He might get 2 attempts in. I think he'll be the last man across this track, across the line if he does. No, he's going to the pits. This is qualifying done. He won't get round one more time, but Twardog's now coming round. What can Twardog do? Does he improve? He does! He puts another couple of tenths of a second on the field. And it looks like Twardog's going to be the man to beat today in that black, silver and lime green Ferrari. Here comes JP. And JP, the home, he gets an extra couple of tenths from the crowd. All 6 people with their umbrella out in the stands, cheering on the hometown lad as he managed to put himself P2 in his Mustang. I have to say, it's probably the worst colour scheme in a Mustang I've ever seen in my life. But for some reason it makes it work, and it is easy to recognise on circuit, which I'm pretty sure is the reason behind that. Now his brother also does not seem to be getting the same boost from the hometown. He's lost it. Back end gone. Don't think he's going to have enough time to get round. He's not. He gets out of the way of Steve Caruana coming round there. So we picked up the course, number 15 Ferrari. Again, just drifting round at that second to last turn. Gets a turn, then we've got a car off track again. The 433 Ferrari of Damien van der Waal. Possibly distracting the course there, but he's going to get one more chance. He's got 17 seconds. The butterflies will be building in his stomach. He'll see if the course can stay the course and silence and stifle those nerves and put a lap in. And that's the end of the session. Twardog's going to be across the line next. What is the benchmark for everyone? He goes faster still. He finds another tenth of a second, and Twardog goes 151.3. Now we're going to do a very good job to pick up everyone as they come across the line, but here comes Jamie Christie in that powerful car. And he's not improved from P18. We've had someone leave the server. What's happened there? Cars pulling over all over the place now. Some cars will be coming into the pits. Next across the line though is the Power Ranger himself, as Moore gets a full four-way drift and he's abandoning that lap as well. He's done for the race, for the qualifying session anyway. Cassier in the number 301 Mustang does improve. It goes up into P3. Great lap time. There's Gedman now, comes across the line, wet track, low practice, finds a second but doesn't find the position. And he'll be bringing up the anchor of the field this evening. Jeffrey Godefroy in the Mustang, not able to improve, unfortunately for him. Adam Sharp abandons lap. And now we've got a couple of cars left to go. Car number 15 is the course. We talked about him making sure he had the nerve this evening. He's abandoned his lap as well. Van der Waal's not though, and Van der Waal's going to go for it. What can Van der Waal do? Does he improve? He does. He goes P2. It's not quite enough. Pospisil's in the pit lane, and that is the end of qualifying. The first qualifying session of the season in the bag. As Pospisil does an excellent job parking his car in the garage. I'm going to actually give him props for that one. Oh, I've lost my keyboard. There we go, keyboard's back. Jack Prentice and P3. Oh, Jack Prentice pipped Cassier at the end there. We missed that on camera. But JP there in the mint green and pink, worst coloured Mustang in history, has managed to get himself on the second row. And he is said to prepare everybody for the Prentice train, as it's been now more accurately renamed, as the Italian Stallion is no longer on the track. It is now Jack Prentice and the American Stallion who will be holding up the entire field. His words, not mine. Choo choo. Oh yeah, in the words of the famous woman at Alton Towers on the mine train ride. Choo choo. Oh yeah. Now I'm going to take a short break after that horrendous piece of commentary. I'm going to leave the timing board on the screen. You can see the times there. Clean sweep of the sectors by Twardog. Short break for myself, comfort break, bit of drink of water, some fluids on board, and I will be back. Do not go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back. Formula Racing League, sim racing at its very best. We're here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on console, that's Xbox and PS5 on the same circuit. We do have an Xbox driver leading the field and in P4, and the majority of the field made up by PlayStation users. But yes, no matter your console, you can take part if you are interested in taking part in this or any similar races, Tuesday nights, Sunday nights and late night Thursday World Tour. You can do so by visiting thesimgrid.com and following Formula Racing League, and all the details on how to join and take part are available on there. It is free, of course, to enter, completely free to join, but if you are, of course, one of the many drivers who inevitably will be watching the race back this evening, or indeed you're just enjoying the commentary this evening and the stream, you can of course donate to Formula Racing League's Patreon. Inflation has brought the price of almost everything up except the Patreon subscription fee, which still remains flat at £3 before VAT. And with that, there's a whole range of benefits, such as getting your very own logo made for you to share on all your socials, your race number and indeed place on the grid reserved for yourself, first refusal given to all Patreon supporters of Formula Racing League, and of course whenever you go live, whenever you share your very own live stream, Formula Racing League will share that to all. At last count on Sunday, of 4,899 of its members on its Discord server. Those people will be told when you go live every single time. So just think of that. That's £3 for less than it costs for a very small, overpriced Northwest American coffee-based company. I can't get my words all mixed up there. Easy for me to say. Obviously can't name the brand, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. £3 Patreon, great value, 3 championships, great to help out the league. It's thoroughly appreciated if you are able to support, but if you're not able to, it is free to take part, of course, and sharing, of course, about the league does, of course, I keep saying of course, 10 seconds. It does indeed share awareness of the league, so please check that out if you are taking part this evening. We do have 1 second to go as Twarduk will get the formation lap underway here at the Snetterton 300 circuit. It may still rain this evening, however, what's going on here? Drivers moving about the place. So the forecast is it may still rain this evening, but it looks like we've got some sunny weather for the race after a wet qualifying session. Might have mixed the order up. We still do not know who we can expect to be at the top step of the podium. Quite warm actually, unseasonably warm you would even say, for England in May. 22 degrees, 29 track temperature, almost ideal racing conditions. The circuit has gripped up, lots of rubber on track. Just a quick reminder then, we have one mandatory stop for all the drivers this evening. In that stop they must take on fuel. Tyres are optional, so the drivers will have to decide, do they want to keep track position and try and make those tyres last the full 70 minutes? Or will they take those tyres and hope that the extra speed that they get will enable them to come back through the pack? It does only take 5 extra seconds for those tyres. I imagine that will be the preferred choice of action during their pit stops this evening. What can we expect to see in the race? Expect to see Van der Waal attack Twarduk very early on. Don't want to see Twarduk run away with it, and I'm sure Van der Waal doesn't fancy that one either. A little bit further back, look for Jack Prentice and Pospisil potentially becoming a cork in the bottle for the rest of the field. Very good qualifying for those guys. We do have some rookies, of course, as mentioned previously, in the field this evening. The course, the highest placed qualifier of them. We have James Bond's cousin, M. Bond, in the 313 McLaren as well. Diani in the 268 car. Moore making his second race in FRL. And Fopioli in the 265 car as well. So keep an eye on those, see how they get on this evening as they come round the bomb hole. As Twardok now backs the pack up in Sector 3 as we are ready to go racing. Quick reminder then, Twardok will be on the right hand side of the grid as Jack Prentice is doing donuts and playing Beyblade on the inside of the second to last corner there. He will start in the second row, third, and Cassier fourth. Pospizo fifth and Falcianelli sixth on the third row. Fourth row is Godefroy and Luke Prentice. As we now come on to the starting straight for Snetterton round 1, Taco Tuesday season 18, as the nerves now begin to build as we await the green flag. And we are green, green, green. The cars were held for a long time, and Twardok's got a great start. And he looks to sweep round the outside, takes the racing line. Jack Prentice being attacked there for P3 by Cassier. And it looks like there's maybe contact, maybe a bit of oversteer. One car runs wide. And out all of them through turn 1 safely. Into turn 2 now, the scary hairpin. Will they get through? It looks like it's not spooked anyone. A little bit of contact at the back of the field there, but nothing serious going on. Up front it is Twardok, Van der Waal, Prentice, Cassier under severe pressure, almost 3 wide on the exit of turn 3 there. Dust kicked up in the background into the first heavy braking zone, and the contact between Pospizo and Cassier, and they seem to have got round okay. Luke Prentice maybe capitalising on this as they jostle for position in the background on the exit off that hairpin. But again, no major casualties in the initial phase of lap 1. Great driving all round, it has to be said. It looks like maybe Christie's had a bit of an awkward start, but he's still going, he's still on the back of Chris Gedman. But up front it is Twardok, leads Van der Waal, leads Prentice, and then it's going to be a big change coming up behind as Cassier fourth, and Pospizo's falling down the order. And I guess it's another tricky corner. Nelson, as they all bunch up, the concertina effect really testing the driver's awareness. And again, they all get through very well. Great driving from everyone around as they come round the second to last corner now. The leaders do. It's of course very tight as they come through there. Another bunched up braking zone, and again good driving all round there. Gedman and Rapierelli having a little bit of a ding dong at the back of the field, and Christie's looking to mop up here at the back using that Nissan's power. Three-way fight into turn 1. Christie sweeps round the outside. Fantastic move as Rapierelli becomes a victim of the Scottish assault there. Twardok, fastest lap of the race, lap 1 as you'd expect, going from pole to still leading the race as they come down the short straight now. A move there from Ball as Falcianelli on the outside of Caruana. Caruana got the inside, leaves room. Tight squeeze there on exit. He pushes the Aston on the grass and he loses the rear. The Aston Martin spins on the outside of Hamilton. There's tyre barriers flying everywhere. He'll need to be very cautious on his rejoin, but he's now at the back of the field. Unfortunate to see. He is of course a very quick driver, and I would expect him to be able to make some of that ground back up. But once again, the field at the front end, at the sharp end, almost the same as it was. Of course, he's to potentially defend from Fast R at the back there. Nothing doing on this occasion as the midfield pack, of course, very tight all through Brundle and Nelson. Again, very cleanly. I must say I'm very impressed with this tier of drivers. Of course, I should be expecting this level of ability from the top that Formula Racing League has to offer. Prentice and Cassier and Godefroy, they're the battle for 4th place. Come down turn 1 now. That's not Pospizo, sorry. There's a contact between the two cars. That's Prentice and Godefroy. Slight contact, and that causes Pospizo to run into the back of them. They now fell off the back of Cassier. Cassier's going to go away into the distance and try and catch up with the front three, easy for me to say. And it looks like there's still line astern, no lasting issues, at least in the meantime anyway. Nothing looks like it's caused any damage to Prentice's car. That said, Godefroy's all over the back of the Lamborghini, and you have to think on the next long straight, the straight line speed of the Lamborghini might get caught out by the raw power of the Mustang. Up through the gears now, you can already see the Mustang clothesline. He's like he's got his lasso round the rear wing. Prentice moves late, and there's a late move! Late defence, is he able to retain control? Both do. Pospizo was looking round the outside. Space is left. And again, slight contact. Pospizo needs to get back on track for bomb hole. Place is defended by Godefroy, and that was very close. Two cars there dicing on the edge of disaster. But luckily, both making their way, keeping themselves on the dark stuff. As the pit window now opens, so now the drivers can choose at any point in the next 59 minutes and 15 seconds to take that mandatory pit stop. But will anyone go this early? I supremely doubt that. Joyce jostling for position there in the background. That's Faster, Moore and Sharp. Sharp not had a great start to this race. Maybe struggling in the McLaren, maybe the wet qualifying tripped him up a little bit. He'll be working hard. He does move over to the inside, shows his nose up the inside of the hairpin. Moore leaves space, there's racing room between the two cars. Very respectful driving between the two, and Sharp looks like he's got the move done. He's just edged ahead at Hamilton, and Moore sideways through the corner, does keep control. Good driving. Caruana slipped back. He's just got himself ahead of Gedman now. Can't help but feel there's maybe tension brewing between this pack at the rear of the field. Almost free wide again, going through Brundle, and he's Christie taking the full curb, and unfortunately losing a little bit of traction and losing a position. As Falcianelli's now caught up to the back of this pack after his mishap earlier on. We're watching Bond just now on the back of the course. This is the battle for 8th place. Just behind this lot we've got Morgan Grace and Chris Faster. And keeping them honest is Sharp after getting past Moore. Sharp beginning to cut his way through the field. We'll see where he can climb up to. And this is now the part of the race, the nerves have settled, all the drivers now into their rhythm. They're back familiar with their dry braking points, turning points, and the balance of their car with fuel on board. And the race begins to settle down, and it's more now about Just driving consistently, keeping the tyres in good condition, especially if you don't intend to make it to the end of the race. So if you do intend to make it to the end of the race without taking that tyre stop. Side by side action, there's Falcianelli, makes a move on Gedman into Nelson. Gedman's pushed on the inside on the curb. Slight contact by the two of them. Dangerous for those two to go through there side by side. But Falcianelli makes the move. I think that was relatively clean there. A little bit of door banging, never hurt anyone. Apart from Gedman, who's now at the back. As Falcianelli now begins to cut his way back up through the field. So up front then, Twardok on his own in no man's land. He's now pulled 5 seconds ahead of Damien van der Waal. Now that is going to be a big challenge for him to overcome. He isn't under pressure from Jack Prentice, who keeps within a second. As we see an uncharacteristic mistake from Twardok there, kicking up dust on the exit of Hamilton. But then flawless through the next 2 corners. Still holds the fastest lap of the race, and if he continues at that speed, I don't expect to see him challenged for the rest of the race. And the camera picks up Godefroy and Luke Prentice battling hard into Nelson and Brundle. Pospisil still on their tail, keeping them honest. But the Mustang and Lamborghini working very hard. All just waiting for one to show a tiny mistake. Something that the other can capitalise on. As Prentice goes defensive, the speed off Godefroy in the straight line. Not enough this time. Will a move be attempted into the scary hairpin? It's not. Godefroy maybe going defensive actually from Pospisil. Just again tucked in behind. The field seems to have developed into 3 groups here. We've got the leaders out in front, the front 4. We've then got the train from Luke Prentice all the way down to Rapparelli. And then we've got Rapparelli, the bottom 4, also in a close battle at the back. So all the drivers now settled into position. They've got their places, their battles on circuit this evening. Of course, you want to score as many points as possible. The order will change from track to track as well. Some drivers prefer certain circuits, some cars prefer certain circuits. But it's looking like the Ferraris and Fords working very well this evening. Spotify goes very late on the brakes into Brundle. On board the McLaren of Pospisil now. Picking up the dirty air, and you can almost see that dirty air just pushing him wide down the long, fast corners. He's not quite able to keep the same speed as the cars in front in those sections. Again, every time as Godefroy closes up to the back of Prentice, he's having to adjust his line, and that's keeping Pospisil in touch there. You see how close he can almost reach out the front of his car and grab onto that massive rear wing. Again, you see through the corners, through the long sweeping corners, he's not quite able to keep the same speed, and these 3 are beginning to move away from the chasing pack behind. Prentice again looks a little bit slow. The Lamborghini bogging down coming out of that corner. And a mistake by the Mustang. Is that going to open the door now for Pospisil? Onto the back straight now. This is where we've seen Godefroy closing last time. The straight line speed advantage of the Mustang on most cars, but the Lamborghini especially shows his nose. I don't think he's going to get the Prentice to make a mistake. Not with a half-hearted move like that. A little bit further back, we see this close little knit group of Bond, De Course, Grace, Faster and Sharp. Now Sharp looks very interesting and Faster there, going through the second to last, but not able to make any further inroads just now. The field is currently very tight. Especially this little pack here, all lapping within tenths of a second of each other. 3 cars ahead, all looking, just all showing little moves and counter moves, trying to force mistakes. Like I said, it is that part of the race that all just feeling each other out, seeing which lines work now, keeping the tyres in good condition. That means not going over the curbs too hard, not scrubbing the surface of the tyre across the track to give ourselves the best long run. We've got a long way to go here. 55 minutes remain. And it does remain to be seen who will come out on top this evening. Dust again being kicked up. It is a circuit that's common for that. You will see a lot of dust being kicked up. And although we can see it just fine when you're in the car, it becomes very tricky to see ahead. And again, Godefroy there in the foreground, just shown his nose to Prentice. Just ahead of this pack of 5 just now that we're focusing on. So looking at the rookies this evening, Cassie are still in 4th. He did race here on Sunday. A little bit more experience than the other rookies. We've got Bond, who is in the lead of this pack just now in P8, De Course in 9th. But Moore just at the back of this pack in 13th. Diani on his heels as well. Here they come here into turn 1. No change this time. But Moore feels the need to go defensive. Keeps the tight line and forces Diani to go wide onto the curb. Diani won't want to do that too often. He will, if he does it a lot, he will damage those tyres. Rejoin now the battle for P8 as Bond makes a big mistake coming out of the hairpin. Not enough to cause any issue, but just behind Moore and Diani side by side through Hamilton. You can't go 2 through there. It's very tricky and very clean driving, it must be said, from the 2 of them. And Moore goes on the inside, but a switch back from the McLaren driver. There's dust again being kicked up. That's going to impact his braking. For the long right hander, there's a little bit door banging side by side, and Foppoli looking now very interested. And you can see there's a helicopter shot, shows us the extent of that mistake from Moore coming out of the hairpin. It's cost him 2 positions in 5 corners. Don't think he's going to get those places back either. Rejoin now the pack, the battle for P5. Luke Prentice leads Jeffrey Godefroy and Vaclav Pospisil 5th, 6th and 7th. Again, just all types of shapes being thrown at the rear wing of that Lamborghini. Anything to try and cause some kind of mistake. But the veteran of FRL, Luke Prentice, having absolutely none of it. Hyman's has shown us in the pits. So is this for damage? Has he been off track, or is it the first stopper of this evening? That Mustang looks a lot closer than normal. As we look back from the Lamborghini Apprentice, again we'll see that big black and yellow front bumper of the Mustang close in. As the helicopter shows the rear speed differential, now he's alongside, and there's side-by-side door contact. Prentice has gone over the grass, skids into the side, a huge crash. As Godfrey looks now to rejoin safely, he's going to join behind Sharp. Prentice has managed to keep his position ahead of Pospisil. Well, that's interesting. That one might be looked at later on this evening, as Prentice now looks like he's struggling. Maybe he's picked up some damage from that contact. He did hit that curb very hard. Pospisil moves to the outside. He's looking for a move. He's got the racing line, but I think this one will be done before the turn-in point. No, it's not. Prentice is still there. He hangs his nose in and throws it down the inside. Pospisil struggling for traction, and now Bond is interested. He really has missed a step not taking the Aston Martin. Very disappointing. But he's now interested in this battle up ahead. Sharp has now got Godefroy for company. How much damage does Godefroy have as well after that contact? And a little bit up ahead, it looks like Prentice is now holding off Cassier for that battle for the final podium position. All this action, we're only 20 minutes in. We've got more to come tonight and over the next 6 weeks. This is the battle for third we were talking about. Two Mustangs fighting for that position. There's no car advantage here. This is now between the drivers to sort this one out. But Jack thought before the race it would be himself causing the train. It is not. It is his brother who is causing the train this evening. Here he is. Now a little bit of damage is shown there on the side of the car. You can see it. Doesn't look that bad. Yellow flags out. Car number 63. That's Graham Cobb. He's off track. He's back in the pits. And we missed that. We don't know if there was contact or we just lost it, but he has now jumped to the pit lane. And it looks like that is him done for this evening. He's left the server, so that is the end of his race. This battle for P5 now heating up. It looks like Godefroy's got himself ahead of the course. Up front again, Prentice very early on the brakes. Nearly having Cassier push him through the corner. Both Mustangs riding that curb particularly high. The gap does appear to have expanded a little bit now as they come through that Nelson and Brundle combination. So all that I said about the drivers settling into a rhythm and a routine, throw that completely out the window. They've decided they want to go attacking now. And it's time. Oh, sideways at the back for Godefroy. He really is now struggling as the course goes round. And Godefroy tries to sling up the inside and makes contact. These races going from bad to worse. And the course is now off course and playing Beyblade on the inside of the scary hairpin. And loses a lot of time. Godefroy is being a gentleman and waiting for him. Great to see. But that's allowed more, and Caruana now up a position. Godefroy, look at that, still waiting for him. And probably going to lose 2 positions now as well. He's kept the inside of the hairpin. That's going to give him the best possible chance to retain that position. And now we've got a 3-way fight for P15. Looks like Cassio's made a small error. And Pospizo's finally got ahead of Prentice. Is that now the beginning of the cork being released? Bond is not quite on the back as Bond runs wide coming through Nelson. And that's Grace now spinning round in circles on the inside of Nelson as well. The driver's beginning to come undone as Caruana goes through. Grace down to P14 now after that error. Looks like Sharp's got himself ahead. I think that's Bond in the pit, so Bond might be the first one to take that pit stop this evening. That's being kicked up by Faster just in front of this lot. Here we've got Sharp and Deanne. Now Sharp up to P8 now. That's went quite well for him so far. That's Bond now just leaving the pit lane, and he has got an absolute so much clean air now. So he can now run in clean air, doesn't have to worry about anyone around him, and put some fast laps in, so that is an advantage of taking that pit stop now. The course, Godefroy and Falcianelli still battling hard. We have P14, 15 and 16. Falcianelli cutting back through the pack after his earlier issues as well. So up front then, Twardok still leads. He's now got 11.5 seconds on Damien van der Waal, who has nearly 4 seconds now on Jack Prentice. That's 1, 2 and 3. In fourth, Casillas fell off the back. He's now 3 seconds behind Prentice. And Pospizo, after finally clearing the other Prentice, is now in P5. Luke is 6th, Faster 7th, Sharp up into P8 now, Diani in 9th and Fopoli in 10th place. Moore in 11th, Caruana up into P12, Grace in P13, the course 14th, Godefroy 15th, Falcianelli in P16, Jamie Christie doing well on his return to Taco Tuesday in 17th, Raparelli, I'll get there eventually, in P18, Gedman in 19th and Bond in P20 after making his pit stop. That's the order just now. We've picked up the Ferrari off Caruana, and he's in a bit of a fight with Moore in that ice white Mercedes. Again, you see the dust is constantly being flicked up into the air. That of course will not do the tyres any good as well. Got another car coming into the pits. That's Bond again. Is he done? Has he been off track maybe? Did he forget to fuel? That is... No, he definitely done his pit stop. So I wonder why he's went back in the pits again. Strange one. Anyway, they're all filtering into the pits now with 40 minutes to go. They've all deemed the half-an-hour mark. Time to pit. Luke Prentice, Adam Sharp, all both into the pits at the same time. I say all of them have chose, it's just those two have now chose. Maybe seen Bond in the pits twice, thought now we've got some clean air. As Falcinelli bounces over the exit curb on the exit of 1 and powers the car round the scary hairpin. And now we see the cars begin to open up some distance between each other. We've got the battle here of Godefroy, De Course and Morgan Grace. Grace again kicks up the dust in between those two fast right-handers onto the Bentley straight. Doesn't seem to have cost him too much time. Up ahead though, that is Caruana being attacked by Fopoli. Defends the position into Nelson. Looks like Fopoli's got himself ahead of more. Caruana up into P8. In the pit stop, Sharp has cleared Luke Prentice, so maybe the damage being repaired by Luke has allowed Sharp to gain track position. It's interesting to see that that pit stop does put you at the back of the field, but does put you in clean air. What these two need to be careful of now is not being lapped by the leader, because then you'll begin to lose more time as you're affected by the blue flags. Mistake coming out of turn 1, and it's Godefroy flying off track, away to visit the scary tree. There's a full 360 off the fence. He is going to rejoin, but he is now going to rejoin in last, or net last. Not Godefroy's race this evening. Rapparelli now in the pit lane for his stop, as well as Grace looks to have lost that position to the course. The back of that Porsche does not look stable at all. Car ahead going very wide there. Who was that? That was Morse. So what's happened there? Morse really fell off the back. Maybe his tyres are gone now. We're side by side. As Grace round the outside, which becomes the inside for Nelson, and it looks, oh, bit of contact, squeezed by Grace there on the outside. Grace got the inside for bomb hole, and the back end of the course looking very loose. They've all continued in the same order. A close battling there between the Porsche and the Ferrari driver. It's not over yet. Moore has jumped into the pit lane to take his stop. As suspected, his tyres must be shot. As the helicopter picks it up through Ritchie's turn 1. Sweeping right-hander Falcinelli goes to the inside. And it's a late defensive move. Brake marker gone as Grace tries to keep it out of the fence. He does manage to do that somehow, but he's now going to rejoin after the incident. probably very angry. It looked like a late defensive move, maybe a late lunge. It's really hard to tell from this position. But the end result is Grace skirts the protective fence on the outside of turn 1 and 2. As some cars now rejoin the pit lane, Luke Prentice does go through ahead of Chris Faster, and Moore is going to rejoin. As Twardock coming through now as well. Twardock's lapped Godefroy in the pits. Oh no indeed for Grace, absolutely. Luke Richards in chat there. Just, shall we say, commiserating Grace on his WRC exports over the grass. Luke Richards playing conductor there, hoping for tickets. Vianney now taking it to the pits as well. Be very interesting to see how all this does play out as we approach the halfway mark here for round 1. Quick rundown of the current order then. Twardock still, as Italian Jeff just lets us know, we are at the halfway mark now. Twardock is still in P1 with Damien van der Waal P2, Jack Prentice in 3rd, Cassier 4th, Pospizo in P5, Caruana 6th, up into P6, great drive from the Maltese Magician, Popoli in 7th, De Course 8th, Falcianelli in 9th, Grace still running in P10, German in 11th, Sharp 12th, leader of the cars who are to pit, who have pitted rather, Luke Prentice 13th, Diani 14th, Fastar 15th, Christie 16th, who is now in the pits as well. Godefroy, he's now 17th, more up to P16. Godefroy is running in P18. Bond has rejoined in P19. Christie showing us 2 laps down. Has he been in the wall somewhere? But he has completed his pit, so he's back out to the end now. Damien van der Waal and Pospizo also now jumped into the pit lane. Now they were battling with Sharp and Prentice, so we'll see just where Sharp is able to bring that McLaren. What a view we have here. This is from the passenger side seat of Sharp's McLaren. You can see all his inputs, both pedals, steering wheel there, and how he uses all of that exit curb. That is Nelson through bomb hole, very smooth actually through there. Long right hander, he approaches the back of Chris German's Porsche. Absolutely nails the apex in the final corner. He's now got a slipstream toe from the Porsche behind him. So it looks like Pospizo's got himself out just ahead of Sharp. Only a couple of seconds in it, mind. They're both on the same frame there. And just behind Luke Prentice, really pushing that car to its absolute ragged edge, right over the curb on the exit of Ritchie's. As the field now begins to spread out a little bit more. Side by side action. Sharp and Pospisil. Sharp manages to squeeze his way past. Pospisil's car tyres still getting up to temperature, and that's allowed Sharp through as he cuts his way through the field. And I'm about 80 to 90% sure. Cars in the pit lane, that's what's happened. A little bit of confusion, but Sharp is now going to move up into P6 as he crosses the line. So he's now set behind Damien van der Wal, and the question is now, will he be able to leap Jack Prentice in the pits as well? We've seen Sharp was quick in practice. He was quick last season as well. Definitely a championship contender this time around. Grayson Moore leaving the pit lane very closely together. No, they're not. Moore's around there. Again, skirting with the gravel on exit there. Twaddock looks like he's struggling a little bit. He has gone 40 minutes now on those tyres. Car looks to be in immaculate condition. As we jump on board with the race leader, let's just watch and listen. Yeah, his tyres do sound a little bit second hand at this point, but you would expect that. You could hear him using the gears and the throttle just to balance the car through the long corners. He's still able to keep that tremendous speed up. Let's see him currently hold the fastest lap and take pole position, and still leading the race just now. Pospisil's not gave up on Sharp. It looks like he's maybe made a small error somewhere, because Pospisil's now all over his rear wing, and Luke Prentice has now began to reel these two in as well. So 3 cars still to pit. Craig Twaddock, Jack Prentice and Chris Gedman. The tyres will be struggling now as Chris bounces over the curbs round the infield hairpin. And while we watch Chris bounce over the curbs, I'm going to take this opportunity to bounce over Formula Racing League's Patreon. It is of course an essential part of league racing, where, sorry, action on screen there, I think we just missed that unfortunately as I was trying to plug the league. Luke Prentice, it looks to have just taken Pospisil. He's actually struggling a little bit out there, isn't he, just now? Those tyres maybe not quite right. New tyres fitted, maybe he didn't fit tyres and now he's struggling. He wanted the 5 seconds as opposed to the fresh rubber, and he's now paying for it. Anyway, Patreon of course is essential to Formula Racing League's operation. Its main cost is to cover the operational costs. It is of course non-for-profit. Things like hiring servers, streams and broadcasts such as this one, and any other sim racing utilities that may be involved. It is of course a way you can give back to the league. If it starts at only £3 per month, it is the beginner plan with essential perks. Perks such as having early access to all of Formula Racing League championships, free entry to paid events, your custom picture for Discord, Instagram, any other social media that you do indeed use. You do get to reserve your number, your very own race number. It is quite a very hot thing. You've got to keep your own number. It's very in demand. And of course, the big one, every time you go live with your own live stream, your stream will be shared to all of Formula Racing League's Discord members. That at current count, that's 4,896 members. 1,600 of those are online just now, so they'll all be notified when you go live. So that £3 a month is essentially investing in yourself. So do have a look at that. We do appreciate anything you are able to support with. Obviously, if you can't, that's absolutely okay too. The other ways you can support by sharing about the league, sharing your success, of course, with the fantastic graphics that is made by our in-house team. Any publicity is good publicity, as they say. So anyway, back to the action. We've still got Twardog out in front. He's run 24 laps now and he's not yet pitted. It's tremendous pace and consistency from the Ferrari driver. Jack Prentice has hung out with him. He's 19 seconds further back down the road, and the question is, where will Damien van der Waal, Cassier and Sharp be in relation to him as the race pans out? One person who is having a very good race this evening is Steve Caruana, running P10, who we're currently watching just now with Chris Gedman in the background. Managing to keep pace as it stands, holding out his pit stop, likely as late as possible. See where he comes out. Big winners today so far. You have to say Twardog doing fantastic out in front, and Prentice now both in the pits. So this is now the big one. Where do they come out in relation to Damien van der Waal, who we're now on board with coming through bomb hole? Clips the inside curve absolutely wonderfully. Oh, downshift and an upshift round that corner. That's interesting. Twardog back out on circuit already. So the full length of the start-finish straight separates those two. Jack Prentice is moving in the pit lane, but he's not able to jump Damien van der Waal. The next one to come through the field is Cassier, and I think Jack Prentice coming on the left-hand side now. Cassier on the right, and it is going to be close, but Prentice has kept himself in front. His tyres will be cold, and Cassier will have the advantage for the next lap or so. Adam Sharp, fantastic recovery through the field, back up into P5. Pospizo's back in front of Prentice again. These two dicing it back and forward with each other for P7. Great action throughout the field this evening. If you do want to take part in this race or any of the other races Formula Racing League hosts, such as Super Sprint Sunday, as the name suggests, on a Sunday evening from 8 PM. Tackle Tuesday starts 8:30 PM every Tuesday again, as the name suggests. And of course we have Late Night World Tour, the World Cup of sim racing, where all the drivers will represent a nation, teams of two, and the top scoring driver scores points for that nation in each race. And also is the longest calendar Formula Racing League has ever put together, a whopping 24 races. So do check simgrid.com and follow Formula Racing League if you are interested in taking part in any of those races. It is, of course, as I said before, free to join. Right now we're on board with Luke Prentice. He's chasing down Pospizo. We're trying his very best to do so. It's very interesting. We've got the three cars we've seen very far off circuit: Grace, Falcianelli and Godefroy. They're down in 15th, 16th and 17th. It's almost a battle for those guys who have been spending a lot of time off track. We'll keep an eye on how that pans out for those three as well. And sure they'll be battling hard for every position as every point counts. So here comes Moore. He's been chased by the course in the Ferrari, the pink Ferrari. And just behind those guys we've got, that is Grace and Falcianelli also battling hard. The battles all around the circuit still going, 20 minutes to remain till the checker flag. Prentice bouncing over the grass again. Really stress testing those tyres. Gedman still yet to pit. I think he's had to commit to this strategy. He's been off the pace tonight. And he's finally moved out of the way off the... I must say it's a very bright white Mercedes-Benz of Moore. And he's allowed the course through as well. Maybe he's just hoping to pick up some places or some penalties or something similar. Maybe some late drama. These two still battling hard. A little bit of a mistake coming through there from Moore as he's under pressure going into the final corner. Very tricky to overtake through here. Usually better to try and line the exit up and get a great exit onto the start finish straight. That's not happened for him on this occasion, and it is Moore who continues to keep position. Christian Labrie in the chat, thank you very much for joining us and keeping the race director on his toes. P5 and P4 looking very close. It is indeed. We've got that on the timing screen there. We can see that. We'll keep an eye on how that one goes as well. We'll flick to that one in a second. Sharpers came through the field like a hot knife through butter. And he is battling very hard. It looks in the background there. That is Grace and Gedman battling side by side. Gedman forced round the outside, and that is a position made up. Oh no, Grace is... That was Grace and Falcianelli, my apologies. And here we go, this is what we're talking about just now. This is now the battle for P4. Sharp closes to the back off the Mustang. It looks very unstable, it has to be said, going round that corner. Sharp looks to be absolutely flying just now. He's brought Pospizo with him along for company in his fellow McLaren. Slipstream gained, but that Mustang is just going to use every single one of those horses under its bonnet and just pull away almost effortlessly into turn one. But look at the downforce difference as Sharp lines up a move down the inside into the scary hairpin. Both drivers late on the brakes. The Mustang tries to throw a V-shaped line which will give him a better exit out of the corner, and that keeps Sharp behind at least for another couple of minutes. And he's went wide through turn 3, and that's going to open the door for Sharp. He doesn't get there just now. You can cut the tension here with a cricket stump. The drama building. And of course these three battling is now bringing Luke Prentice back into the fray as well. Cassier, Sharp, Pospizo and Prentice all battling hard. We've got a close battle as well as Cassier's run wide onto the Bentley straight, and now both cars are going to be side by side. And now we'll see again the Bentley straight, allowing the Mustang to open its doors, but Pospizo now alongside Sharp has to brake a little bit earlier. Sharp leaves plenty of room, and Pospizo round the outside of Brundle and Nelson. That's a fantastic move by the driver from the Czech Republic. Makes his way up into P5, Sharp down into 6th place. Great driving from all involved. We'll pick up those in a second. Fast Star still close round the second to last corner. with Diani, and those positions seem cemented just now. Pospisil maybe was just holding some tyres back there. Again, throws it to the inside, just trying to make his McLaren look very big in those Mustang's mirrors. And Sharp is looking at this, his mouth watering, rubbing his hands together, just trying to think of a way he can get himself back into that position again to make a mount challenge on to P4 and maybe chase Jack Prentice down the road. He's not that far ahead, he's just only 2 corners down the road. Now we'll stick with this one just now. I think this is the battle for P4. There's 4 cars duking it out for position. Again, the Mustang using every inch of the circuit available and a little bit more as they come down that Bentley straight again, and that Mustang's horsepower just gives it the edge into one of the... It is a tricky overtaking zone, but we've seen it done by loads of cars this evening. And Pospisil again not able to make that move work, but we've seen him almost playing chess with his opponents this evening. He's just made them think he's not going for the move, and then bam, makes the move. Both McLarens get an amazing exit out of the final corner. The Mustang bouncing over the grass, and this time will the horsepower be enough to save the Mustang? It looks like it is. Again, it's so hard to overtake, and the McLarens are kept behind. And Luke Prentice now looks very interested. Again, on the curb, has to back out of it. And they're going into the hairpin, the scary hairpin again, one more time. Line astern. These 4 cars not giving an inch. Again, running wide from the Mustang. Falcianelli makes the move on the course down into turn 1 for P13. But these 4 here are putting on a show. 14 minutes remain. Pit window remains open for 9 more minutes, and that's 9 minutes for Chris Gilman to finally make that pit stop. Him and Christie battling very hard, and again a mistake from the Mustang on the way into the corner before the Bentley straight. He's pushing very hard around the outside, space given by Pospisil. And once again, we see it every time down the straight line speed off that Mustang doing its job. But all these little mistakes, this battling, this pressure is just making Luke Prentice rub his hands together. He can see, visualise P4 from all of this happening in front of him. Sharp's worked so hard today to bring himself back up from P13. And again, here we go, Sharp and Pospisil into turn 1. Sharp's got the slipstream, is it enough? He's not, he's had to back out of it. He's going to try and carry the speed through turn 1. But Pospisil with the same car, the same strengths. Very hard to find even a half of a tenth of a second. But Pospisil is now going to run him wide, and Sharp sticks it on the outside. He's now side by side into turn 3. They're still battling round the corner they go. Now Sharp is going to have the inside for the hairpin, but Pospisil has made the move, or defended the move, and Prentice now tries his luck round the outside of that infield hairpin, and somehow they come out of the infield section in the same order they went in. Have I spoken too soon? No, I haven't. They're still in the same order. This is absolutely insane. Again, another mistake from the Mustang coming onto the Bentley straight. And as soon as that McLaren pulls out of the slipstream, the Mustang just stretches his legs, walks away from the other 3. Very interesting situation beginning now to develop for the battle for P8 as Diani is holding up faster, and now Caruana's made his way to the back of this pack. Another mistake from the Mustang out of that corner, bouncing over the curb. Not over yet. We've got comments in the YouTube chat there just saying how amazing this battle is between these four pilots, as Prentice really four-wheel drift, working harder than a fat lad's arteries round that corner. You can see that battle just behind these, actually the three cars behind, and now beginning to close in on this battle as well. Pospido's made a mistake coming out of turn 3. He has to go defensive into the hairpin in turn 4. Again, a little bit of door banging, and that's going to open the door for Luke Prentice. As Luke Prentice thinks about it, on the inside of Hamilton, backs out and tries to carry the speed through. Sharp again having to go defensive. Has Sharp cooked the tyres too early and put himself now under pressure from Luke for the remaining stages of this race. Here's the other battle we were talking about. This is the battle for P8, with Diani just in front of Fastar and Caruana. The gap seems to have opened up a little bit now. Another battle, of course. We've now got more. Look at this. There's 5 of them. We've got Fatoli. He's just got himself ahead of the courses in front. He's got himself ahead of Fapoli and more. And more now having to defend from Falcianelli. Falcianelli goes round the outside in the Aston. Now he's got the inside. There's contact. Morgan Grace hits the back of Moore and waits like a gentleman. And what have we got up ahead now? Oh my goodness. There was a Mustang moving slowly there just up ahead. I think it's got out of the way in a late missed braking point from Pospiza when he goes to visit the scary tree. Unfortunately, it's out of season. It's not Halloween. This is summer, and his race turns from good to bad. He's now behind Caruana, and again Caruana makes up another position up into P9 now. Pospiza, can he come back? That leaves these three at the battle for P4. Cassier still holds position, and Sharp now gets to make another turn, another attempt to get past the Mustang. See a fantastic exit by the McLaren. And the Mustang goes defensive once again. But the McLaren needs to stay in the slipstream off the Mustang. This raw power, those raw American horses, doing enough and being Cassier's best friend this evening. So Gedman has finally made his pit stop, and Gedman and Bond now battling into turn 2, and they've got Jack Prentice in P3 approaching this battle, and there's contact. Bond has spun Gedman round. It looks like Bond will be waiting for the Porsche. That's good to see. Again, sportsmanship being shown throughout the field this evening. And Sharp finally throws it down the inside of Cassier and makes the move, and Prentice going to sneak up the inside. It all comes to a head 7 minutes from the checkered flag. It's not over yet from the battle behind. Prentice and Cassier still battling. Prentice swings round the outside and now goes defensive for the infield hairpin. And it will be interesting to see if Cassier's Mustang can do the deed on the back straight and get himself back in front. Sharp finally clears Cassier, but I think he's run out of time to catch the Mustang of Prentice just ahead. I say just ahead, he's nearly 20 seconds ahead now. sorry, 15 seconds. But just behind this lot, if you look, that's now Deanne on the back of the Mustang. The Mustang will not be making any moves back ahead of Prentice with mistakes like that coming onto the straight. But it is Deanne who's going to be putting the Mustang under pressure. It's not been an easy final half an hour for Cassier in that Mustang. And it's good to see Bond there has let Gedman back in front after that contact coming out of turn 2. In the now the entry. Oh, big crash at the back there. Cassier and Deanne. Big crash, and Cassier has been sent straight to the Shadow Realm. Oh no. And Pospisil finally gets himself ahead of Cassier. That's a shame. You hate to see that. I do hope Deanne will be waiting for him. He's lost a couple of places, and Caruana now up into P7, and Deanne looks like he's struggling with that damage as well. Looks like a very big shunt into the back. Big contact there. Just getting word that
the pit window is closing down.
That Cassier was hitting the rear there indeed by a McLaren. Now, look, the chat is saying it was Pospisil, but Pospisil was quite a bit behind. I think it might have been Deanne, the orange and silver McLaren, that made the contact. But we'll let that one, let the stewards decide that one. We won't make any assumptions on the stream. What we will do is watch for Poli and Falcianelli battle for P12. This one looks like it's a very close fight. Again, both cars and Grace in the background deciding to kick up the dust once again. Just listen to that Aston Martin. Oh, on the grass there for the initial braking. You see he never quite made the apex off the left-hander. That'll cost him a little bit of time to Grace, who is tucked in behind. The driving this evening has been absolutely impeccable. You do have 20 cars battling for position on the limit. You are going to get some that inevitably do bump into each other, but we now have Grace challenging Falcianelli on the start-finish straight. The Aston Martin does have the edge in straight line speed. The Porsche has the edge on traction and turning. As Grace think about a move, he shows his nose, but the Aston Martin's got that one covered. Just up ahead, we're now picked up Steve Caruana on the back of Faster. Great performance from these two this evening. They've not really made a lot of heads turn, but they've kept their head down, drove their own race, not got involved in any stupid battles, not made any silly choices, and they found themselves in 6th and 7th place. And that is the way to run a good race. Consistent laps. Find yourself usually at the top end of the grid. This battle here was very close. That Aston looks like it's struggling for rear grip. Back end stepping out, and that is a track that will do that. Up ahead, look at this, is Caruana now on the back of Fastar. Two minutes remain. We might get 2 more laps, and where is the leader? Yellow flags out. Car 217 at Brundle. 317, sorry, that's Falcianelli. And then up ahead, Gedman's off circuit. He rejoins. Doesn't make any contact with the cars coming through. Caruana goes around, as does Fastar. got another car. 317 is absolutely struggling out there. Grace and Godefroy, these guys are battling near the start. Look at the damage on the front of that Mustang.
Leaders on final lap now.
So that is now the leader on the final lap. So the leader will do one more lap, but these guys will finish this one and then do that lap. They've got a little bit longer of racing to go. Caruana dancing over the dust and the curbs and the grass. You know, lost out a little bit too faster. First mistake of this evening by Spanish Steve. Still running in P7. I'm sure he'll be very happy if you offered him that at the start of the race. I'm pretty sure he would have jumped at it. My apologies to Godefroy, that was not Godefroy. It was Cassier with the heavily damaged Mustang doing a great job bringing that car home. It's in some condition, look at that. Anyway, it's been an absolutely dominating performance from Craig Twardock. He has set the pole position in the damp conditions. He has set the fastest lap of the race and he has led from the green flag almost to the checker flag. He's got one more lap car who gets out of his way just now as he doesn't fall victim to the commentator's curse. Through the final corner he goes, and he's got a drive-through penalty. I'm only joking. He makes his way across the starting grid now and takes the win for round one of Taco Tuesday here at Snetterton. Craig Twardock, fantastic performance and definitely, unquestionably, driver of the day for myself. Damien van der Waal kept his head down, very quiet, didn't have the pace this evening, but he's done the second best he could possibly do, and that is second. Of course it is, as Moore now crosses the line, as does Falcianelli, secures 15th and 16th, and Van der Waal takes second place. The train did not leave the station this evening, it absolutely flew as Jack Prentice turns his Mustang into a Cessna aircraft and takes the checkered flag. Final place on the podium for the local boy. Adam Sharp has driven a fantastic race this evening. There's cars all over the track at the back there. I don't need to keep an eye on who that is. Oh my goodness, what have we missed at the end there? As Sharp takes P4, Luke Prentice P5. That's Bond who's came through. Fast R takes P6. Caruana's lost out of position to Diani at the absolute death there. Caruana takes P8. Gedman crosses the line. Pospizo P9. The course is going to come along now to take P10. Fopoli holds off Grace under 3/10 of a second as they come across the line. Great driving there from the both of them. Godefroy, an absolute warrior this evening, as was Cassier as he crosses the line now as well. Unfortunately this evening, Rapparelli, Cobb and Hymans were unable to finish the race as all the drivers now go to visit the Scavy Tree and do some well-deserved donuts. Well, what a race this evening it was, action-packed throughout. 39 laps of absolute dominance by Craig Twardock in the Ferrari. It's a Ferrari 1-2 this evening, dominance from them as well, almost 30 seconds separated first and second. Jack Prentice came home on the bottom spot of the podium, but takes the podium nonetheless. Adam Sharp and Luke Prentice round at the top 5. Then we have Faster, Diani, Caruana, Pospizo, the course. Fopoli, Grace, Godefroy, Cassier, Moore, Falcianelli, Christie, Bond, Gedman, Rapparelli, Cobb and Hymans. That is the provisional order of the race. That is of course pending any stewards' investigations that do remain to be seen. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure to bring Taco Tuesday to you all. Next week we will be going to Laguna Seca and we'll be displaying the silver tier drivers as things stand, as the current commentary schedule stands. That is the second tier of FRL, and it is a packed, stacked grid. 37 of those signed up round Laguna Seca, which of course is notoriously difficult for overtaking and infamous for its dreaded corkscrew corner. Don't miss that one. We'll be back, of course, at the usual time of 8:15 then next week. Until next time, take care of yourself. All the best from me. Good night.